Do you struggle with a lack of distance? Are you having trouble with your iron shots, not hitting them solid? What if I told you that that could be directly related to simply how you hold the golf club? Not so sure about that? Hi everybody, Darren Falk here at Break 90 Golf, and today I'm going to show you one simple thing that you can do with how you hold the golf club that's going to allow you to hit the ball farther and allow you to hit more solid iron shots. Let's get to it. So the biggest issue that I see with the average golfer is how they hold the golf club in their lead or left hand for the right-handed golfer. And the biggest problem I see is that the golfer will have a tendency to hold it in the palm of the hand. Okay? And the problem with this is in my backswing, if I try to hinge my wrist, notice how difficult it is. I don't have a lot of range of motion in my left wrist when I do that. Conversely, when I hold the club down more in the fingers, watch now how easy this is for me to move the golf club. And this little movement right here is a tremendous power source in the golf swing. But if you're holding the club incorrectly, you can't get to that position. So what I've done here is very simply just put a black dot right on my left heel pad, and then I'll put another one right here on what we call the snuff box. And if you just press down on the top of your hand, you'll feel that little dimple. So I've got a black dot here, and I've got a black dot right here. Now, why those are so important is as I'm holding the golf club, when I do it correctly, those black dots are going to match up on the top of the club. So looking at the bottom hand, when I hold the club down in the fingers, that black dot is sitting right on the top of the club. And now, so when I look here, if you envisioned a pin going right down through this black dot, it would go through right that black dot and come right out of the center of the golf club. Where people go wrong is they'll hold it down more in the palm, and if I do that, you'll see the black dot appearing underneath the golf club. So the easiest way to do this is actually to hold the golf club at a bit of an angle. So if I was to hold the club in my right hand, my lead hand here, or sorry, my trail hand, and just held it at about a 40 or 45 degree angle, now when I go ahead and take the golf club, okay, notice how that club wants to sit down a little bit more in the fingers. And again, cannot emphasize enough how important this is. And if you look through, there's my black dot, the snuff box, right on top. Now, why this is so important is watch now when I swing the golf club in my backswing, notice how easy it is for me to hinge my wrist. And this lever right here that I create is a huge power source, and you will see that in any good golfer. Conversely, when the club is down more in the palm of my hand, it now gets very, very difficult for me to hinge the golf club. If I can't hinge it going back, I'm not going to have a whole lot of speed. The golf club gets very heavy, and then we'll start seeing golfers lift their body, lift their front foot, and do a whole host of things to try to get this club to travel further back. And that all can be fixed simply by having that club in the fingers as opposed to in the palm. So again, what are we going to do? We're going to hold the club, 40 degree angle, 45 degree angle, and from this angle, this is how we're going to set the club down more in the fingers. I've got that black dot sitting right on top of the club, and then I've got my black dot where my snuff box is right on the top. This is going to make it so much easier to hinge this golf club. Okay, again, if I've got it too much in the palm, I'm not going to create any speed going back. If I've got it down more in the fingers, now it's going to be that much easier to hinge the club and use that to my advantage. Now, the second thing this is going to do, not only is it going to create more club head speed, it's also going to help me to hit more solid shots. And here's how. If the club doesn't hinge on the backswing because I've got it in my palm, as I come into the golf ball, notice how early and how soon the left arm and the club form a straight line. Not only is that slowing down the club, it's also going to have a tendency for me to hit the ground before the golf ball, or keep me from hitting down enough, and now I'm just going to be kind of brushing or sweeping the golf ball. Conversely, when the club is down more in the fingers, not only am I hinging it going back, but as I come into the golf ball, it is going to be a lot easier for me to maintain my wrist angles. And notice where that club is there and how much further it still has to travel. And now, not only is it creating speed, but it's also going to be a lot easier for me to hit the ground after the golf ball. So let's see how that looks. Club down the fingers, hinge the club going back, okay, and I'm holding it more coming through. And as we look, where did my club hit the ground? In front of the golf ball. All right, conversely, when I have the club in the palm, and notice how the black dot now on my top of my hand is to the side, and the black dot underneath, or on my palm, is underneath the club. Not only will I not be able to hinge it going back, okay, but notice how slow, and that's going to keep the club from being able to have enough descent. Because if I were to let the club hit the ground, it's going to hit back here. When I have it down more in the fingers, it's going to be a lot easier to hit the ground in front of the golf ball. Okay, so a couple of drills to get this feel and to just reinforce this point of how much more speed we can get and how much more solid contact we can achieve. The first is I want you to do is actually hold the golf club, believe it or not, upside down. So you're going to hold the club just past where the club head would be. And I want you to hold it through the middle or the palm of your hand, okay? And then you're going to put your right hand on just as you normally would. Now again, keeping the club like this in the palm, I want you to go ahead and make a swing and just try to go as fast as you can. Okay, and listen to the sound that I'm making, that whoosh sound. All right, and again, not very, very loud. Now, what I want you to do is hold the club down more in the fingers. Okay, hold the club the same way, and listen to the different sound this club will make. Look how much louder that is. Okay. Okay, and again, I'm not trying to move the club any faster. The club simply is moving faster because I'm able to create an angle with my wrist, this wrist hinge, and then it's that straightening, okay, that's going to create that speed. When the club is down more in the palm, I can't create as much of an angle, so therefore there's not nearly as much built-in speed to that golf club. Okay, so the second drill that we're going to do is going to focus on the downswing and getting that solid contact. And what we're going to do here first, we're going to make sure that the club is held correctly. So we always want to take the grip not from on the ground here, because watch, if the club's on the ground and I hold the club, look where it naturally wants to settle, right in the palm. We want to take our grip from right up here. So holding the club in your trail hand, my right hand here. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the left hand on first, make sure it's nice and secure in the fingers, and then we're going to put the right hand, okay, on. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to make a real small swing, but we're going to create these angles very quickly and very soon in the golf swing. So we're going to basically keep the butt end of the club right here, and we're going to hinge that left wrist, and you're going to also notice that the right wrist is going to bend back a little bit too. But I feel like the butt end of the club is over the golf ball with the club shaft pretty much parallel to the ground. Now, I've already got this angle built in, so now the goal is going to be to keep it. So all we're going to do from here is give ourselves just a little bit of momentum with just a little bit of body pivot. And then the goal is going to be to try to hold this angle for as long as we possibly can, right? Till well after the golf ball. If the club is held incorrectly in the palm, one, it's going to be very difficult to create an angle, and two, I'm going to lose that angle and I'm going to get to the ground well before the golf ball. So again, take the club, make sure it's down in the fingers, put the right hand on, small little backswing. We're going to set that hinge quickly right off the beginning, little swing back. Okay, and notice what that looks like coming through, right? And again, where did my club hit the ground? I hit the ball first, and then I hit the ground well after the golf ball, okay? Done incorrectly, would look like this here, and then coming into the ball, look what's gonna happen, okay? I'm gonna hit the ground well before the golf ball. And that's simply because of how I'm holding the club in my hand. Okay, so how do we practice our grip? Well, simply we can do this anywhere. We don't have to necessarily do it hitting golf balls. If you just left the club around your house, have it at a favorite chair when you're watching TV, and just pick up the club. And again, first thing you're gonna do is just hold the club in your trail hand, your right hand for us right-handed golfers, and you're just gonna hold it out in front of you like this, okay? I wouldn't have it straight parallel to the ground, but just on a little bit of an angle. From here, go ahead and just simply let the club naturally settle down now more in the fingers. So that black dot right there, that heel pad, sits on top of the club. And then as we look, my other black dot right here, right, sits right on the very top. So if you envisioned a pin going right through those 2 points, it would come right out of the golf club here, right? Now, from there, I'm just gonna put my right hand on. And now a great way to check this, whether or not I have the club on correctly, would be to take all but my index finger off. So I'm gonna take all 3 of these fingers off. And if I have the club correctly, notice I can still hold this club very easily. Conversely, if I have the club in the palm of my hand and I were to try to remove those fingers, notice how I lose support of the golf club, right? Again, that heel pad provides incredible support. It adds more speed to our golf swing and helps us to make sure we hit the ball more solid. All good things. Thank you everybody for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you have not done so already, please be sure that you like this video and also subscribe to the channel. It's completely free to subscribe. That will allow me to help put out content and also will alert you when a new video comes out. If you would like to work with me, we can do so in person at Holly Ridge Golf Club on Cape Cod, or we can do so online via the Skillest app. And you'll see links to both of those in the comments below, in the description below. If there's anything you would like to see in future videos, please make sure to mention it in the comments below. And as always, thank you for joining me and look forward to seeing you again next time.